Hi, this is Graham again, doing the third tutorial in the Publishing Management System, PMS. Today I'm going to show you how to put a sale into the system. Now I'll currently be using the test development database. The reason I'm doing that is because this is designed to send all of its emails to me or any other nominated email. So that we can happily put sales through and we won't be sending emails to live clients or any other departments within the company. It will all come through to me, which is great because I'll be able to show you the whole flow today. Right, so as always, your first step is to go into the master at ownership. And before you even make contact with the client, make sure they're not owned within your division. Make sure that no one owns them so that you are actually able to sell into them, which I think I mentioned in the previous tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to check for your business made easy. No, not in there. As I mentioned in the past, trim down your search criteria in case there might be possible spelling errors. Still nothing. Might just try made. There's a couple there, but definitely nothing there. And I'll try the abbreviations. So again, just be ultra thorough because you never know how it might have been put in the past. Right, I think it's a pretty safe bet that your business made easy is not in the system. So the next step is obviously I ring the owners or the marketing person. I've pitched, I've made a sale. So now I will put them into the system. Because they weren't in our master at ownership in any way, shape or form, and just be mindful, even past clients that aren't owned will still be in the system. If they've ever been sold to, there'll be a record. So that's why we check so thoroughly. We have found that your business made easy is not in there. So I'm going to create a new advertiser. So I'll do this right from the start for you guys. Okay, so there's a good warning here, which I won't bother too much about, but it's saying that make sure, like I just did, do all possible combinations of the client, check, reduce your criteria, make absolutely sure the client is not already in the system. If you make the mistake and create a new card for a company that's owned by someone within your division, there's no excuse. It will go to that previous sales rep because you've sold into a client that is already owned. So it's up to you to make absolutely sure that the client is not already in the system. It's also a massive pain if we do have a duplicated card for a client because then technically they've got two accounts within us. They could have lots of statements coming through from an accounting package and it's just a mess. So moral of the story is really check, make sure. Okay, so I will put in the company name. Whoops. PTY Ltd. Authority, I'll put myself. Makes it a pretty easy sell when you're selling to yourself. Okay. Alright, anything with a blue field is a lookup. I can just click on the magnifying glass. 5162. Morph and fail. There we go, it's populated all that. Work. I don't have a work, I'll just do my fax, my mobile number, confirmation email. Now, because the system is designed, this system is designed to override all these emails, so I can put whatever I want in there. I'll just put www@www.com.au. And with this system as well, the confirmation email is the person you've been dealing with. So with that, this will be the email address of the person that's authorized to approve the confirmation to say, yes, we are going into the magazine. Typically, it's the business owner or the marketing person. That's typically who you got. Now, in the larger organizations, that person might just be signing off to agree. They've got a budget they've been set for advertising. He's agreed to spend that money in the system. Wonderful. They may have an artwork department. If they do, if they're big enough, you can put the email address of the artwork department for our proofs. So when we start laying out the book and we proof the content, the advertising, you can put a proof email address and the name of the person who you'll be corresponding with the proof. Also, this is important in bigger departments, the accounts department. So this would be on their side of the fence, that would be the accounts payable department. So if they're really large, sometimes that's handy. So in the chain of events that will happen with that, the confirmation email, which is an automated system that will allow the person in a web-based form to approve the advertising that you're about to send, and basically commits them to advertising with us with all the terms and conditions. That will go to that person that you've been dealing with. There will be correspondence regarding when artwork is due that will go to this person, but also the graphics team will look at this record and know who they have to send the artwork to. So that's a bit of the manual process of creating the artwork and typesetting. That is where the graphics team will find out who they have to send the artwork to. This is a part of our automated system. If this is populated, then the invoice will be going to this location here, this field. So whatever is in this field will go in. If, however, these fields are blank, everything just goes to that person. So you don't have to put that person's email address and contact details in 3 times. Just put it in the top one, and if these are blank, then it will just send it to the confirmation email addressed to this person up here. Okay, so that just steps through all the processes that the system will do. Next is ABN. It's really, really handy if you guys can get the ABN off the advertiser for us. It just saves an absolute mountain of grief when we're chasing for money, especially if it goes to debt collection. If we have that number, life is so much simpler and we get paid a lot sooner. And it also, sometimes the sales reps have to get involved when it's debt collection, so it can save you some time as well. Over to the right here is the ad agency. So if this company has a marketing company or an ad agency that actually procures advertising on their behalf and wants to be the sole contact for that person, which does happen with the larger companies, you fill in all these details as per normal. Then you would put Extreme Marketing or whatever, the authority there. I'll put my brother in. And again, fill out all the address and details. Now, what happens there with that email, what happens there is if this is populated, all of the automation that goes in here is actually bypassed and everything will be corresponded to that email address. And that's how they like it. If they're the ad agency, the marketing people, they're getting paid to manage their marketing campaigns, spend their money, they've got responsibilities with that. They want everything to go through them. So if there is an ad agency involved, you still have to fill out all the details for the client because that's where our ownership sits. Ad agencies get changed around year to year sometimes. The ownership of the client still resides with this, and this company is still ultimately responsible for the debt. However, if an ad agency is involved, this is where all the correspondence will go. Okay, I'm just going to delete that because we just want this to be a basic one. All right. Finally, down here, now we probably should have mentioned this earlier on, but if it was an existing client, so I've just created a new one, but if this was an existing client card we were looking up, have a look at this sometimes. If it's grayed out, which I mentioned in the last training thing, it will say frozen yes. So that means the account's frozen for some reason. You need to contact our accounts department to find out why. Usually it's bad debts. This will tell us whether they're registered for GST or not. Typically, if they're registered for GST, it's blank. If they're exempt because they're an overseas company or certain other reasons below the GST threshold, then this will say no. But typically, if it's blank, assume it's yes. Active, yes, this is an active client. That's pretty much a default. Okay, so that's basically the start of filling out a new card for an advertiser. I'm going to hit save. Work cannot be left blank. Okay. Of course, typically if someone's just working off their mobile, you'd just put that in there. So that was a required field. Oh, just to mention as well, one of those fields has to be filled as well. So if that client for some reason doesn't have an email address or can't be contacted or doesn't want any email correspondence, you have to have a fax in there, fax number in there, because the only two ways we will accept confirmations is via email or via signed fax. Okay, save. Don't think I hit that properly. There we go. All right, so the system's checked. Everything else I've put in seems to be okay. This is just a little thing to let admin know that a new client has been created in the system. It's just an advice notice. Okay, so we've got the client in there now. We're going to create the sale. We'll get to the good bit. Now I mentioned at this point in time, if you'd searched and if the client was there, so we'll type in your now, and your business made easy does exist because I've just created it. So if it doesn't exist, you just go through the process I did. If it did exist and you've got no encumbrances against selling on them, you just simply click on this, and all the steps I've just previously shown you have obviously been done for you. You may need to change details. Just on that, if you know that Graham Moz is no longer the director at Your Business Made Easy and he's been replaced and it's a permanent change, you can change it and hit save, and that will change and save the master record from now on with that client. However, if Graham Miles is just on holiday at the moment and will be returning to his position, but you're dealing with his replacement at the time, when you go into create sale, you are able, in the advertiser ad agency details, you are able to override and send it to this person just for your sale, just for this instance. So be mindful of that. If it's a permanent change within the company, change the master record. But if it's a one-off, a special reason, or possibly you're dealing with someone different to someone else in your company, then just change your record, just change your details. You'll still have all those details saved in your sales history, but you won't be affecting the master record. Okay, I can leave that because everything will come to me anyway. Okay, so this is where you actually enter the sale. It defaults with today's date, which is usually the case. You can change it if you need to. Okay, blue field, so we look up. And we've only got a few in here, that's fine. I'll choose mine safety. Excellent, so it's looked up that. Now it's found all the available spaces for that particular magazine, so it's given me a choice of all the spaces. And again, use the very powerful search criteria. Yours may look very different to this, by the way. It could be, this is just how this company set it up at the demo company. Yours could be very different. I'm going to sell them a full page. And I'm actually going to make mine no, I'm going to do a casual. I'm just going to keep it simple for this lesson. So I'm going to do a full page casual. Casual in this regard just means they're only going into one edition. They're not going into a 2 edition contract, 3 edition or 4 edition. It's just a casual. In we go. Okay. So now it's started to retrieve some data on that particular sale. Sale price. I'm going to say that I sold it for $3,300. I had to give a little bit of discount. And again, this could all change depending on your company structure, but this is just how the test site is. Includes editorial. Yes, I threw in some editorial. Includes search engine optimization. No, didn't bother with it. Very important here. The system has looked up the sales and copy deadline for this particular magazine, this edition. So this is your required date to get the artwork in by. What you can do, and what I highly recommend, is you can set the date for, say, 10 days prior, even further if you want, that's fine. You can set that date. What that date is going to do is when the 5th of March is 14 days away, the system will send an automated email to either the confirmation email or to the proof email, just friendly reminder that their artwork is due in 14 days. It's a very automated email. It's just completely supposed to look computerized. It's meant to be a bit of an aid to you so that when you're ringing them and chasing them for artwork, they've also got this massive wonderful system that's also automatically reminding them as well. Just adds a little bit of extra weight to what you're saying, I guess. Also, if you are busy or whatever and you might miss it, this could possibly get the artwork in for you. There's a second reason for it as well. If anyone else takes the call in the admin department or pre-press department, quite often we get asked, what's the copy due date? Now, if you've told your client something a bit earlier than the actual date because you're trying to be proactive, we don't want to tell them the wrong thing and tell them it's the 15th and destroy your buffer. So what we can do is we can look up the system. We can go, oh yes, the copy due date's the 4th of March. And then that corroborates with your what you've said. Okay. So the system will send out that confirmation, that friendly reminder in 14 days. It'll send out a slightly more urgent one with 7 days to go. Okay, it's a completely automated system. It's nothing hard or rough. It just tells them what they're advertising in, what they agreed to, and just a friendly reminder that the artwork is due by the 5th. And if there's any queries, it actually looks up your details and asks them to contact you if there's any queries. Okay, moving along. Purchase order. Bigger companies, this is very important. Ask them if they've got a purchase order, because quite often we won't get paid without a purchase order and it slows down the whole system. There's their ABN. If we hadn't put it in the system at the time, we could fill it in now. Pre-press instructions. Shouldn't be too major, but in this regard, what we put, client would like proof ASAP. Okay. Admin instructions, usually not much there. Client asked for purchase order to be on our tax invoice. There we go. Feature. Okay, the features inside the magazine. Every magazine has stories and features and departments. We can choose where it's going in here. Okay. Now this is flexible. This can be changed later on down the track if you need to, but it is, and it will help. This actually goes into the production report so that the graphics team, when they run their report, it groups all of the advertising within the features. So it's like a running order, almost like a mini flat plan. It helps them build the flat plan. Okay. The last part here, valid sale, that's actually a computer generated area. This is when we hit the save button. It will go and look at all of the rules that are in place and make sure we haven't broken any rules that may be involving discount. It will check and make sure that you are able to sell this client and that it's not owned by someone else. And a few other bits and pieces. It will check and make sure feature's been chosen, so forth and so on. I will hit save. Once I hit save, I can't make any changes. After I make so, what this will do, as soon as I hit the save button, a whole heap of procedures and sequences in the background will take over, and emails will be sent to clients, emails will be sent to admin staff, pre-press possibly, all kinds of things will happen. So it's very important that you check all your data and make sure. In most instances, if you've made a mistake, we will have to cancel this sale and you will have to re-enter it. And then you have to obviously advise the client to ignore the previous email, automatic confirmation they got and all that sort of stuff. So very important, make sure your data is correct. Okay, it's away. And you have to apologize, I've got a lot of internet things happening in the background here. There we go. Okay, once it returns to your main screen, it's done. All right, and you can see here my Gmail's notifying me that I'm getting a few emails come through. So let's go to our Gmail. Okay, just refresh. All right, so this was the notification that admin would have got. A new customer has been created by whoever that sales rep was. That's just a fake person. And here we go. So this is what your client receives. Dear Graham Oz, thank you for booking, blah, blah, blah. Please click here to confirm your advertisement. If you've got any queries, please contact us on the number. I'll hit that. All right, so this is the dummy for this client. So we've got the details, and you can actually see it looks quite a lot like a fax pro forma, and the reason it looks like that is will be explained later. But if the email doesn't work, if they don't have email, if some spam blocker somewhere along the way is blocking the email, or possibly we've just got the email address wrong, you can revert to a fax version of this and fax it off to the client. So let's have a quick look. We've got the details of the client, we've got the salesperson, all their details. We've got the details of the publication. We've got the details of our terms and conditions, which I won't go into detail because that may change from company to company. This is the important part, and you need to be very mindful of this. The instructions you put into the sale are included for the customer to see. They become a binding part of the agreement. Now the customers like that, because if you have given some allowances that you got approved by your manager, or if you've got some special instructions that are perfectly reasonable but they really wanted them included, the client has that peace of mind that all of this is incumbent on the client getting approved as soon as possible, that the purchase order will be put on the tax invoice. It just looks professional, and they feel rest assured that all of their requirements have been met. Okay, so that's in there. So be mindful. Whatever you put in there will be seen by the client. It will be seen by pre-press. It will be seen by admin. So it needs to be professional. It needs to be written properly, and it needs to be grammatically correct. Put capitals. Put full stops. You know, it really is a part of the package. Now here, the client also gets to have a say. So what they can do is, rather than a lot of to and froing, they can put, you forgot to include that it will be a right-hand page advert. The bane of publishers' existence for some reason. That's just, everyone thinks that's so important. Okay, so now the client can put that in, and then they can tick that they agree to the terms and conditions above, and they confirm. What that's done is that saves them having to phone you up again, say you forgot to put this, and if they're really pushing for it, you'd actually have to cancel the sale and redo it with, and they want right-hand page. This way the client can put that in, he can confirm that he's now happy with the booking, and he's agreed that it's binding. It's up to us then, managers, yourself, everybody, that if he puts something in there that wasn't agreed on, if it wasn't fair and reasonable, we would go back to him and go, no, we don't agree to that. And then the sale either gets cancelled or we renegotiate. But it's a very handy system for the client. They get to have their say before they confirm. So if it's just a little technicality, they can do what I've just done there. And if we don't mind, we let it go, and that is an agreement. If it was major, obviously we would say something. Also, if those fields didn't have any information in them, the pre-press and the admin, they're completely disappeared. Okay, so it doesn't trigger someone to say, oh gee, I could have got extra maybe. So if there's nothing written in those fields, those boxes are completely gone. Okay, now you'll note that took a little bit of time. Again, apologies for my internet, but also it takes a bit of time because there is a lot going on in the background. This system, in most of our customers' cases, talks directly to their accounting package, so there's been a lot of backwards and forwards in there. Emails have been sent, the database has been updated. It does take a bit of time, but this is particularly slow because of my connection at the moment. Okay, so it's thanked them for their confirmation. It has also logged their IP address, the date, time of the confirmation. That's in case the client ever says we never agreed to it, we didn't confirm. It's basically a digital signature. We have got an IP address there that tells us that they did confirm. Okay. They can also click for a printout of their confirmation, although it does get emailed to them as well. I'll just click it just so they can print out just a copy of what they've agreed to there. Okay, so we can close that now. It doesn't with Chrome, it does with IE. All right, so now a number of other sequences have taken place. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, this one was sent to both pre-press and admin. It was sent to both pre-press and admin within the company because there is an instruction there for pre-press. Pre-press or the graphics team, whichever you like to call them, can now contest that. So if you've promised something that's just not possible or unreasonable, or it may no longer be available, it gives PrePress the opportunity to jump in right now and say, hey, we can't do that. So the client isn't sitting there for months thinking they're getting something that they're not. You can act on it straight away. Same with admin. If it's an unreasonable request you've put in for admin, admin can check it. However, if you hear nothing, and of course you don't just put these in blase, you have to check with your departments and make sure it's okay. But if you know it's just a slight technicality, and it will be sent to them, if you hear nothing, obviously everything's fine. Admin also receives the client notes, because sometimes we'll need to modify the sale inside the database to add to the pre-press notes so that the production department are aware of the client's request or something. This doesn't automatically get added to your sale in the database. It's something that admin needs to vet. We agree to it. Does it need to be added to the system? Yes, it does. They copy and paste it in there. So it's a slightly manual process, but it needs that human factor to make sure we don't get cluttered with rubbish. Okay, so that was sent to both admin and pre-press in this regards. This is what the client got. This is the client's version of the confirmation. Admin also gets a copy of this. So admin has a copy sitting there. So if the client needs a reprint, needs it forwarded, or if the client disputes that they never received the sale, we can tell them that very politely. We can say to them, look, you were given your confirmation at 15:48 on this date. Have a look in your emails. I'm sure you'll find it, and that will jog their memory usually. So it just reconfirms. Now, if your company does so, there may be an early payment offering there. Some companies do, some companies don't. If they do, it's there. So that gives the client just a bit of a notice that there is a bargain to be had, if there is a bargain to be had. The next step, the client or the accounts payable department of that group. So if we go back to here, and I'll just pick any old person, this next email would either go to that person if it's filled in, or if this one's filled in and populated, it goes to that one. It overrides. So if filled in, they get the next email I'm about to show you, but if it's blank, then it goes to this person. Okay. And this is thanking them for the booking. Attached is the PDF booking. It's saying to them that if they do not wish to pay before publication, an updated copy of the invoice will be emailed once the publication has been posted. However, if they would like to take advantage of the early payment discount, they can get that saving there, and they can treat this as their tax invoice. Okay, right there. Sometimes that does confuse clients a little bit, and they might send you an email, hey, I just got an invoice and you told me that I didn't have to pay. More often than not, they actually haven't read the email, which clearly explains it. But tell them rest assured, it is only there if you want to take advantage of the discount, or if you need to pay early, because sometimes they need to pay before end of financial year. However, if they don't wish to, they don't have to pay until after publication. Typically, we send the invoice, and it will give them all the terms and conditions that your company runs with. Okay, this is coming to you as the salesperson. It is letting you know that the sale you put out there has just been confirmed. Now, the reason we do that is because, unlike me, who's wonderfully efficient, sometimes the customer may take an hour, 3 hours, a day, 6 weeks to confirm your sale. You never know. It's never as wonderful as the world we just saw. It's usually takes a little bit of time. It's great if it happens within the hour, but more often than not, it doesn't. So rather than you constantly going in to check your unconfirmed in the system and look out for this and that, it will flick you an email to congratulate you that the sale has just been confirmed by the client. Okay. And I believe that is that. So that's all the processes that took place inside that system. Now, let's go have a look. The final step, and then I'll say adieu for this very long tutorial. So we'll put in your business. Okay, now it is owned in the safety division by random salesperson. Expiry based on whatever your company's expiry policy is, and it's inside that magazine. And we'll go a little bit deeper now just quickly. Okay, so there's all the details we put in. Rep ownership. This will give the ownership of any divisions for that client, the owner, and the expiry date. So if this had been sold in other divisions, or if someone comes up next and sells them into health or whatever, it'll give a little table of who owns what, where, and for how long. It also gives a very rudimentary sales history, just a bit of a history to let us know how long the sale's been going for. Now, typically, again, depending on the company that uses the system, from here you can quite often do a search on that advert, and you can have a look at the actual nitty-gritty of the advert. So this is just a summary table. From there, you can have a good look. Some companies allow you full access to see all sales. Some companies only allow you to see sales within your division, and some companies only let you to see your own sales. So it's dependent on the structure behind the system whether you can actually access that. But at the very least, you get to know that they were sold at this date into this publication for this price. So you've got a rough idea. Okay, I'm going to close that. And then we'll have a look at your dashboard. Now, magic things have happened. The dial would have gone up. You now have one piece of copy to chase because we've got a sale. And depending on your commission, you would have some commission coming your way if once it's confirmed, again, depending on your company structure. Okay. Whilst I hadn't confirmed it, the sale would have been sitting in there. Okay, I should have probably showed you that, but just trust me, it would have been sitting in there as an unconfirmed sale. So when you put a sale in the system and you've hit that save and it warned you no further changes, anything that's out in the internet waiting to be confirmed by clients will be sitting in here. Okay, if you click on it, and I should have showed you this, if you click on it, there is a resend button for the confirmation to resend it to the email, or that's when we've got a button that says fax and it turns into a nice fax pro format and you can print it and fax it. Now I will go on to a little bit more, and I'm sorry this is a long tutorial, but it is probably the biggest part of the PMS system. Let's go into here. Quite often you'll get unconfirmed sales sitting there. You've had enough after 24 hours, you've rang the client's said, you said, hi, did you get the confirmation? The client says no. At that point, click on it, which would have brought up this information. Okay, so you've gone click there because it's still sitting unconfirmed. It would have brought up the advertisement. Instead of save and print, there would have been resend confirmation, and there would have been print fax. At that point, while you've got the person on the phone, say, okay, I'm just going to resend it now. Hit the resend email button, and it's literally instantaneous. It should pop into their inbox within about 10 to 15 seconds of you clicking that button. That part is very quick. So while you've got them on the line, check and see. Now, if they say, no, I didn't, ask them politely to check their junk mail in case it's gone into spam. They may have spam filters and all that. If they still haven't found it, just ask them to reconfirm their email address. Okay. Now, if you find that you have made a mistake on their email address, whilst all of this is uneditable to you, there are certain sections that are editable to the admin team. In a nutshell, all of this is locked out from everybody, and it has to be. We have to have some integrity in our system to say that we cannot meddle with it after a client has confirmed. We wouldn't stand a hope in hell of collecting any money from the courtrooms if we were able to modify prices or magazines or page sizes after the client's confirmed. So as soon as you hit that save button and it's out there waiting for the client to confirm, that is all completely locked down from us. Okay. We can, however, modify the pre-press and admin instructions for you, but we can only add. We cannot take away. So if you put something in there for the sale, we cannot remove it. We can only modify it. We can only add to it. Again, that just protects the client. Okay, so even if we put ignore that, well, it wouldn't stand up because the original confirmation email said that that's what that was, and that's what the client confirmed. We can, and you can, change the copy date. So If you need to push it back because the client's gone, there's no way I can do it by the 5th, I can do it by the 10th, you can actually change that, so can we. You might even want to bring it forward if you feel you can. One thing I didn't mention actually during this was, sorry, I should have mentioned this. When we were doing the sale, this notes section was actually available for you to write notes, and you can write whatever you like in there and only you can see it. So this will give you, it's like a rudimentary CRM. If your company doesn't have one, you can write any kind of notes you want in there about this sale, and it's your eyes only. Okay, even admin can't see that. Same with pre-press. Pre-press can do notes. That's their eyes only. Okay, so if a client has had some trouble with the emails, there are solutions, and what I'm going to do in a second is I will hit pause, and I'm actually going to redo a sale, and then I'll come back to that point so that you can see it. So bear with me, people. Okay, sorry about that. I should put some elevator music in between. Okay, so I've just quickly put a sale through. Well, I'm just about to. So I'll hit the save button. It's warned me. Hopefully I filled in everything. I did it pretty quickly. Okay, beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be a typical client, and I'm not going to answer your emails, and I'm not going to chase things up. So you've got your sales. If we go to sales history, you will see the sale that has been confirmed by me a few moments ago. If we go to unconfirmed sales, there is the one I just redid. Okay, so it's sitting out in the wide world web, waiting for someone to give it a click. And here you can see what I was talking about. Okay, so after a day or whatever, you're starting to think, no, I need to contact this person. You ring that person. Hi, Leon. Just checking that your email address is correct. And if he says it's got no E on the end, you go, oh, okay, that's where I've gone wrong. Sorry, I'll resend it again in 10 minutes. Admin can change the email address, fax number, work number, and the authority name and position. Okay, so we cannot change the company name. I don't think we can change the address, but we can change email, phone, fax, and contact persons. Okay, so if you do make a mistake, you need to go into admin, or you need to send them an email and say, hi, on advert number blah blah blah, I made a typo with the email. It is meant to be leon@printhouse without an e.com.au. Can you please change that and resend? Admin have the right, the authority. They can go in, they can remove that e, they hit save, they hit resend, and then hopefully it goes to Leon. Okay. However, if you've rang Leon and you've done the resend, I'll do that. We should see that pop through to me in a second. Confirmation email sent successfully. There we go. So you saw how quick that was. It was literally 10 seconds. If he still hasn't got it, you go, okay, we've obviously got some spam filter in the web somewhere that's blocking us. I'll print you out the fax. Can I send it to you? Bear in mind as well, guys, you can print this and then you can scan it and send it as an email, and then they can sign it, scan it, send it back. We don't have to rely technically on faxes. We can do it through the fax, that's fine, but a lot of clients these days actually don't have faxes, so that's your alternative. You scan it, you get it. We'll even accept these days, we'll accept a photograph from their mobile device of their signature and everything emailed to us. So I don't care if it comes in on a PDF or a JPEG for the companies that I look after, as long as I've got something that's got a signature that I can go to court with if things got nasty. Okay, so that's that. And then from here, naturally, you just go to your file print for whatever system you've got, print it out and send it. Okay, and it's very much the same as what we've just seen. All right, so that will sit in unconfirmed until it's confirmed. Now, I should mention, with the fax pro forma, what happens here is it gets sent to the client. The client signs it, they return it in one way, shape or form. At that stage, it has to go to admin, Admin will view it, they'll cross-check everything, make sure everything lines up, because this is what the system usually does. They'll go, yes, this is fine. Then they will go into your sale and they will manually mark it as received and approved. Okay, and then we file the fax confirmation away in our fax confirm folder so that if anything ever comes up, we've got a copy of it. So that's the manual intervention there. When the fax comes in, give it to your admin department or whoever looks after your fax confirmations. They will go into the back end of the system and manually flick the switch to say this is confirmed, and then all those emails and everything happen as per usual. Okay. Finally, for those of you that are on commissions, if we move down the scale as we do, it's in unconfirmed, it's now in your copy to come, that one that was confirmed. So you've got your list of, sorry, I'll do that a bit quick. So you've got your list of all of your artwork to collect, how many days until it's due, and I believe this does sort by that. So you've got your most urgent coming in, and it does it by the actual copy date, not your stated date. But that's also very handy for you to see on the fly what you promised who, what and when, because you may vary. All right. Sales history will be a history of all your sales. And again, like I said, with companies, some companies will open up your entire division so you can see all sales from everybody. Some companies show all sales altogether. This one's just set to show just your sales at the moment. So that's why it's only showing that one. Now, if you're a commissioned sales rep, the system will generate your tax invoice for you. It's what's called a recipient created tax invoice. So the supplier, or sorry, the customer has generated your tax invoice on your behalf. Still perfectly legal, saves you a lot of paperwork. Okay, dependent on the commission rates and what's agreed, there will be a tax invoice dependent on when you're paid, and posted just means internally that it's been paid and it's been sent off to the accounting package to be correlated with your payment. Okay, inside here, and I will go into a bit more detail of this. In fact, I may actually make this a separate tutorial, which I will do in a minute. So I'll cancel out that. All right, so that's tax invoices for commission sales reps is there, and I'll go through reports as well in a separate tutorial. Okay, so thank you for your time. That was a very long one. Hope you grabbed a coffee and hit pause in between just to break up the monotony. But it's, like I said, it's the most crucial part of this system, and it is the most labor intensive for you as well. That is really where everything happens. So hopefully you got something from that. If you have any questions, please ask either myself or your direct sales manager. Thank you.